What's up, guys? I am going to go to the webcam full right here this way because I haven't loaded the game yet. For everybody stopping in, thank you so much. Be sure to subscribe, tap the bell notification. Check me out over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Joseph Corey. Tap that bell over there. And I will tell you guys, you want to check out the giveaway. It's on right now, josephcoreygaming.com. And we got this 3-time entries going on. For every $5 you spend, 15 entries to win the gaming PC you see behind me. Over $4,500 worth of hardware. With today's prices, with the normal prices, we're $3,500 to $4,000. Epic merchandise. I'm going to show you guys the website before we get into the game. We're going to go over to josephcoreygaming.com. I'm going to show you guys some of the epic merch that we got going on right now. Funny stuff like straight out of the gulag for, Call of Duty Warzone. We have got the new camper shirt. Translation: players who think they are safe hiding in dark corners. The heartbeat sensor is your solution. If you've got a kid coming up, and they're, your wife is pregnant, your girlfriend's pregnant, we got some onesies here. If you know somebody who is, check this out. Call of Duty Brown Ops. Guys, get it? Freaking leg, right here. I needed 9 months to respawn. Some pretty cool stuff there, guys. A lot of stuff in the store right here you guys can see. Do you even game, bro? The new GTA 5 Wasted shirts, as well as 5-star Wanted limited edition Franklin stuff. All kinds of stuff in the store. If we go over to, this is a GTA 5 video, so we'll go over to Grand Theft Auto Inspired. You guys can see all the stuff. I got beanies, hats, backpacks, all the stuff for Grand Theft Auto. A lot of stuff being added all the time. So definitely check that out. We're going to get right into this, and I'm going to show you guys what's going on. Let's talk about Grand Theft Auto 5, and let's launch the game while we're waiting. We'll just put the camera on me. So, what's going on with Grand Theft Auto? There's been a lot of people complaining about frame stuttering, lagging. It's almost like rubber banding, but the game is not highly, contingent on internet speed like, say, Call of Duty is, because this is an outdated game per se. But there's just a lot of people that are having, issues with frame rates, including myself. I was really tired yesterday, so I really didn't think about this. I've been building PCs my whole life, and a lot of high-end PC users are having a lot of issues, so they end up having to run VSync half. And what that does is it gives you 120 FPS sync, or the full one gives you 60. And without getting, too crazy into all these details on what's happening here, and without boring you guys to death, there's something that goes on between the CPU, the motherboard, the memory, and the GPU, and this information is processed. And there is a bridge between the motherboard and memory, which goes to the GPU and CPU. And the CPU is very important when playing games. If you're playing games at 1080p, you're kind of CPU bound. If you've got a top-end CPU like I do, no problem. You can run 1080p. It's still dependent on your video card per se. But without getting into a direct number, I'm not saying this is accurate 100%, but let's just say you're playing 1080p, you're probably like 60% CPU, 40% GPU. This is an example. It's not an exact number. But by switching over to Quad HD or 4K, specifically 4K, you're more like 70, 80% GPU bound. Now, these percentages are just examples so that you can understand. They're probably way out of context, but I'm over dramatizing it so that you can understand that 4K is more dependent on your GPU than it is your CPU. Now, games have to be coded in order for them to be CPU dependent. If you got a game that's, say, 10 years old and you're on, an octa-core or even a 16-core CPU, the game is probably not designed for your CPU. For example, GTA 5 came out in 2013 when quad-core and hex-core CPUs, 6-core, and even some octa-core 8-core CPUs were being released. This game is truly designed to run on a quad-core or a 6-core processor. And so it got me thinking that, the 5950X, which is what I have, is a 16-core, and the 5900, which is a 12-core, 5800, which is a 10-core, really gets me thinking that there is a CPU issue. And a lot of people have lag no matter what they do. They've tried every resolution. They've tried every graphical setting. They've tried absolutely everything. and they've got this stupid lag in GTA. Let me show you guys. I'm going to load into story mode. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about here. And it's an issue for everybody who's got a high-end PC or even a mid to high-end PC. If your PC is newer than the last 3 or 4 years and it's a decent PC, you're going to have some sort of stuttering. It's the game. It's not your computer. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about here, because this is quite terrible for anybody who's got a nice PC. And I'm going to show you how to instantly fix this problem. You will see my low is 5%. My 0.1 low is 5 frames per second. That should never go below 10 or 20. Like, see it stuttering right now? See how it's stuttering? I'm telling you guys right now, it does not matter what setting I change in the video card or the graphic settings. This won't change, okay? And when I go to the menu, it slows down. Like, watch when I go to the menu to settings. See how it's slowing down? I don't even have MSAA on or NVIDIA TXAA. I don't have that. If I go here to advanced graphic settings, I don't even have frame scaling on. I have nothing. Everything's set to ultra or to very high. But look at the GPU load. Look up here at the GPU load. 25%. That's nothing. Look at the CPU usage, 7%. This computer's not even anywhere near. Like, the GPU's not even hardly being touched. The CPU's almost non-existent. But somehow I'm still getting 170 frames per second. But look at the low 1% and 0.1. That's showing me that it's almost completely stopping the process altogether. Even Call of Duty, Warzone, which is a trash game when it comes to being optimized. The 0.1 is like 10 to 16 frames per second or higher, and 1% is like 20 or 30, which means this game is booty. Something's wrong. But what is it? Well, we're going to play for a second here, and you're going to watch the freezing. It's quite annoying. And I know you guys have seen this. It's terrible. Like, what is causing this game to run so poorly? Like, right now, it's absolute booty. Like, how could a game this old not run on a high-end PC? Well, the answer is the game was optimized for a quad-core CPU, not an 8-core, 10-core, 12-core, 16, or a Threadripper. Anything over 8 cores, and this game is going to run like total crap. Doesn't matter what setting you put it on. I even tried it so much as to scale it to 4K so that I could peg the game on the GPU and get it off of the CPU. That had very little, if any, effect at all. You guys see that my 1% low is 3 frames per second. There it goes. There it goes again. See? And just to show you guys, I'll reset it and watch my 1% and 0.1 drop to 4 or 3 frames per second. Anything below 5. Anything below 5. See there, 3 is showing you that the game is practically stuttering to an almost complete halt. Okay, so we've already seen this. We already know what's going on. How do we fix this crap? Well, I'm going to show you guys. It's very quick. You're going to alt-tab out of your game, okay? You're going to start up your task manager, all right? You're going to find your GTA 5 process, and you're going to go to Set Affinity. Take off all processors. You cannot run 32 threads on this game. You cannot do it, okay? You're going to basically be hyper-threading. And that means that every thread you pick, every 2 threads you pick is one process, or excuse me, is one core. So you want to run this game in a quad or a 6 core, so you really need 12 threads, okay? Not 32. Because you don't want to run a 16 core on this. You want to run 6. You could run quad, but you really want to run 6 because the game's optimized for a 6. So let's go ahead and run. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I got 12 threads. So I'm essentially hyper-threading at 6 cores. We're going to go back into GTA 5. Okay? Going to reset this. If this doesn't fix the issue, we'll just set it to 4. Now, it won't let me reset because I went into Task Manager and I got to close it and I got to restart Afterburner here. There we go. We'll get back in so we get the overlay going because sometimes that will crash. Open this up. We'll restart. You should notice that the 0.1 and 1% low will drop, but it won't be 3 frames. It'll be like 20 or 30 or 70 like it is now. And you'll notice that the game is smooth right now. Before, we were dropping to 3 frames within 10 seconds. We've been doing this now for about 10 to 15 seconds, and my 1% low went from 3 frames to 105, okay? I'm currently getting 156 frames, an average of 142. Look at my 0.1. Now, it did freeze there, but it's probably because I have too many threads still. But you can see that instead of it freezing every 5 seconds or 3 seconds, it's only done it once. And typically, this is because of your processor. All right, so we'll do this again. You can see that the 1% low, right about now, it would freeze, and it didn't, so it's still lasting longer. The only reason why I got that one hiccup is because I'm running it on a 6-core when I really should be running it on quad, 4 cores instead of 6, because this game came out in 13. It was truly optimized for a quad core. A hex core system could run it, but I still think that you're gonna run into a little bit of problems here and there. Like, as you can see, I'm not freezing yet. I've been doing this now for, what, almost 30 seconds? By now, I would have had 15, 20 freeze events, whereas I've had 0 yet. It may still freeze. Well, Franklin froze because he's out of stamina. But as you can see, I've completely fixed the 0.1 and 1% low. You guys remember what it was when I was running the full 32 threads? It was freezing every 5 seconds. Here we are, how many seconds in now? Almost a minute, no freezing. If you notice that you're still freezing on a high-end Ryzen 5900 or 5950 running 12 threads, which is a 6-core, or any Intel processor, if you're running 12 threads, you're essentially running 6 cores. On a processor from Intel, that's called hyperthreading, and on a processor from Ryzen, it's called HPT. I think, I don't remember. I could be brain farting here. But in any case, multi-threading, hyperthreading, you got 2 processes virtually. It's virtual threading. You have 2 processes per core. If you set it to 12, you're really setting it to a 6-core. I set it to 12, so I'm really running 6 cores in this instead of 16. If you're doing that on your computer and you're still getting a little bit of glitching here and there, run 8 threads instead of 12. You're essentially running quad core. That should fix it completely, but I'm pretty sure most of the time 12 threads, 6 cores will fix this issue completely altogether. If you're having 0 issues with 12 threads and you want to go up to 16 threads and run an octa-core, 8-core, and see if you can push 8 cores, that'll be pretty cool too. You could try that, but I don't know if that'll work. For me, we can go ahead and try it, but I don't really care because running 8 cores is not, this game's not optimized for it. You can see even running 6 cores, I'm only at 20%, and that's up from the 7% that it was at 16 cores. So if I go down to an 8-core, or excuse me, a 4-core, it's probably going to up to about 35, 40% CPU usage. I might actually get a little bit better results. And we can try that now. We already know we fixed it. As you guys can see, the 1% low won't go below 117 to 90 on the 0.1. So we fixed that. But let's go ahead and see what would happen if I put it on a quad core, which would be 8 threads. We'll go down from, you know, the 12 threads I've got now. Will it increase the usage? Because, you know, I was at 17, 18% usage, maybe 20. Well, let's go ahead and go over to GTA 5. Let's just set the affinity. We really want to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there we go. We're going to run 8 threads. Essentially, we're now running a quad core instead of a hex core. So we go from 6-core to 4-core right now. And it still stays at 17%. 1% low is not going to change. It's probably going to stay 110. 0.1 might drop to 90. Who knows? But our 0.1 was 90 and our 1% was 112, 115. So you can see our 0.1 has went down a little bit, but that could just be the averages. Essentially, you could run a quad core or a hex core while playing this game. You might get away with 8, but I'm not exactly sure. But this is the ultimate fix. Whatever the case may be, I've been playing the game now for 5 minutes without one hiccup at all. But before that, it was stuttering like crazy. Like, I mean, legitimately like crazy. You guys saw it was every 5 seconds it was glitching. Now I'll just go into the settings. I'm not going to change any MSAA settings. I'm just going to go to the frame scaling. I'd like to run this at, 4K. Basically, because I can do that on this machine. It's going to drop my frames per second to probably 120. I'll lose 20, 30 frames by doing that. Maybe not. My 1% low and my 0.1. See, my 0.1 dropped to 77. 65. So I lost about 20 on my low and 5 on my 1% low, respectively. And my overall average went from 145, 150 to 140. And I'm getting 130. So I lost an average 15 to 20 frames per second. But anything over 120 in this game is going to be flawless. As you guys can see, I'm still averaging 140. The lows haven't changed. And the graphics look much better. Like, I'm running everything on very high and ultra. Like, I'm 95% maxed out. And I'm scaling 4K and still getting 150, 160 frames. It'll drop in the 110, 120 here and there. But average is going to stay in the 130, 140. And you can see that my 1% low is 110, 0.1 is 79. So even maxed out on everything practically, I'm still flawless on this system. Only 80% GPU, 16% CPU. If you guys are playing this game on a high-end PC, on a Ryzen, anything over Ryzen's 4-core, R5, R7, R9, if you're running on Intel 99K, 9900K, 10900K, or 11900K, you're going to have a lot of problems. I think the 10900s are probably a little better than the Ryzen's only because there's less cores, but probably still a little bit of an issue. If you're running on the new 11900K, because it's an 8-core, you might not have any issues at all, but the 9900 and the 10900 are going to have some issues, and the Ryzen's will have a ton of issues just because of how many cores. Now, also, the Intel. We got to look at the Intel here. If you're running like one of those 10 to 16 core Intels, like those extreme processors, you're going to have the same issue. But I'm not going to keep this video any longer. I'm hoping I was able to explain this to you and show you guys how to fix the low stutter frames per second issue on Grand Theft Auto. It does not matter what you do in the settings. I want to be very clear here. I don't care what settings you change. I don't care if you go into your manager for compatibility on the application in Windows. I don't care if you go to full screen optimizations, if you disable that. I don't care if you go to borderless. It doesn't matter. Any setting you change, you're going to have stuttering issues in this game. If you have a high-end PC that has more than 8 cores in your processor, specifically Ryzen processors, you're going to have nothing but stuttering in this game until you do what I showed you to do. There's no other alternative. I've been building computers a long time, and I've tried everything with this game just to really get it straight. And no matter what you do, you're going to have issues with this game until you set your affinity to a quad-core or 6-core processor. And as you guys can see, it's been running pretty flawless. Once in a while, you might get a little hiccup, but at the end of the day, this is the ultimate fix for the game, and there really is nothing else you can do besides that. The game is outdated as far as its core fundamentals. So I'm hoping I fixed this issue for you guys. Check out the gaming store, josephcoreygaming.com. Get your entries to win the computer. We'll see you over on Twitch tonight. We're playing Grand Theft Auto and Call of Duty Warzone tomorrow. We're going to play some Fortnite, Minecraft, and Warzone. Be sure to check out the channel. Check out the schedule. I update it every single week, sometimes multiple times per week. Appreciate you guys stopping, and we'll see you on the next upload. Peace and love at ya. Bam. We'll see you guys soon. Get your entries to the PC once again. We'll see you guys over on Twitch. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next upload, guys. Take care. We're out of here.